Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. Today I have got some questions from you guys. A few weeks ago, I got on my community tab on YouTube and asked you guys to give me any questions you had about stamping, like issues you were having trouble, stamping that you were wanting me to answer. And here's my list. I got a couple pages here. I am going to start with the very first question that was asked and then go back from there. If you have asked a question after I just kind of cut it off because I had started filming, well, I deleted that and started all over again. But I think that everything is in here. I don't think there was anybody else left. I will check again. But we're going to go ahead and start answering those questions. But first, let me tell you what I have on my nails so I don't forget, because I always do. On my right hand here, this gorgeous shifty blue is Base's Loaded Lacquer now, was Brave Steva nail polish. I'm going to try to remember and not say Brave Steva nail polish because I always forget. This is 643 double play. And on my left hand that I'm going to be stamping on, I have Nutcracker Jacks. I believe this was an exclusive Christmas. It may have been in a box, like in a advent box. I don't remember, but I don't think you can get it anymore. All right, first up, Pink Tigger. She says hers is a long one, and it like hits different points that other people ask also. So I'm gonna try not to repeat myself because I'm a blah 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 blah. This is gonna be a long video. I'm warning you now. Long. Snarky, maybe. Probably. Most likely. Alright, so I'm having trouble getting the fine lines to pick up, and when I do, parts are missing. When I stamp polka dots, some of them are hollow in the middle, but not all of them. Images on the edges and corners of my plates are the hardest to get, and I usually just choose another image instead of struggling. Is there a secret to lining up layered images correctly? I especially don't understand sometimes what the odd bits are, and I can't figure them out. Is there a trick or a stamper that works better if you have a strong C-curve so you aren't missing images on the sidewall area? Help. My straight lines are stamping wonky. So there's a lot going on in that question. And the lens, I think in my last video, I pretty much answered her question, and also part of Pink Tigger's. The lens said, could you talk about how to pick up images with a lot of open space? I'm hit or miss in that area and would love to know a good way to go about picking up the whole thing. So I am going to touch on that again, even though that was in my last video. I told you guys how to pick up images that have a lot of negative space on them and fill them in so that you're not left with empties. I do have my Sticky Station, whatever this thing is, from Maniology. I do like this thing, especially for trying out, deciding what images I want to do and layering how they look. I'm sorry if I'm not zoomed in very much and you can't see very well. You can blame all these people that are watching me on like 70-inch big screen TVs, Ginger. And all the rest of you that are watching me on a giant screen TV, because it is horrifying to me. I edit everything and do it all on my phone on a, smaller screen. And yeah, you guys are watching this on a giant screen TV. No wonder you can't see. Okay, let's get started. See, snark, just a little there. There was just a little. All right, I'm going to combine a few of these questions. All right, it's nice, and I can leave my window open, so ignore the traffic going by, and I'm going to try to, not cuss at people as they drive by. All right, first, I'm going to start off with Clear Jelly Stamper. Clear Jelly Stamper plates I do like. I do not, repeat, do not recommend them for beginners. These two, this is a one. This is, I think, like the very first one I bought. They're notorious for being very, very finely etched. I can't feel that etching at all. I struggle still with these little images here. They're adorable. Trying to pick up this outer edge, it's a nightmare. Absolutely a nightmare. These little pieces and bits Not easy. This one. Oh, how cute. Oh, I bet you could make a really good bird with that. No, you can't. No, you can't. When you have this much, go away. When you have this many layers, it's ridiculous. There's no being able to place all that. You just can't. It's ridiculous. So my advice is, if you're going to try to do something like this, just do 3 tops. So the main outline, maybe this one, but I mean, that entire thing is going to cover up all that color. You know, I mean, why? It doesn't make any sense. If you've got 5 steps to a layer, you're not going to line that up right. It's going to take forever. Just give me a bird image that I can color in and just do a reverse stamp. This was a nightmare. I never could get a single bird to look right. Okay. Edges. This one I struggle with too. This is kind of a firm stamper. And that's what I'm going to use to pick this up. It does need to be sticky. If you've got any stampers that are especially sticky, I would recommend using that for these little fine lines. This one especially is really hard to pick up. As is these candy canes on the edge. So I want this green here. So your best bet is to scrape toward that edge. And you're going to have to clean off. The roosters next door are literally just screaming. All right, I'm going to do a little holly here. I did put some sticky base coat on because this polish is really dry. So there's one with the light green. So your best bet is probably always going to be a pretty stiff scraper on these, and going toward your edge instead of trying to pull it away from your edge. So there's a couple of leaves. And then I'm going to do the outline with a darker green. See, and that is on a corner. Not only do I have an edge, I have a corner. Same thing, pretty stiff, like push pretty hard. Those colors were Limelight and Crisp. And here we have Maniology, Cherry Bomb. I have never purchased any clear jelly stamper polishes, and they're little bitty bottles, and they're supposed to be super pigmented, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. I don't care. I'm probably never going to buy any. They're little bitty bottles. They're kind of pricey, and I would rather just spend my money on something I know I love, and that would be Hit the Bottle polishes. Or any, you know, I'm going to tell you the truth, any of these Maniology polishes that I'm using today are ones that I really love. I'm using this scraper just because I'm going to be needing it here in a minute. Generally, my favorite scraper is a clear jelly stamper scraper. These, they're medium, they're not real stiff, and they're small, and my hands are small, and I just can handle those better. All right, this one I thought would be really cute, these little tea bags, but you got no idea how hard it is to layer up. It's too hard to line up. But I'm going to show you a trick for lining up. Okay, Cozy. So, I mean, this isn't too bad. There's 3. So, I mean, that one you can make really cute. This one only has 2, but it's going to be hard to line this up because it's hard to see what it is you're even doing. So, with the rectangle stamper, I'm going to hold that straight. I'm going to pick up that whole image with all of it. So I know exactly the direction I've got my stamper. It's just up and down. I know that when I pick up the next layer, that stamper needs to be up and down. These are really fine lines. I'm going to line it up against the edge and up and down the whole thing. And that is like going to be really hard. Because I just can't see. And they're teeny tiny tea bags. Woo! So that is pretty good, I got to say. But that is one of the hardest 2 layers I've ever seen. We're going to do some lines, some straight lines. And that was a question I had from a couple people, from Pink Tigger and also Omni's Wish. She can't pick up plate. I don't have this exact plate that she's talking about, the Lena plate with all plaid like images, and she can't pull an image off of it, and she's tried many stampers. And I'm going to suggest, which I know Omni probably has, trying different stamping polishes and different angles. So if you can't pick it up one way, flip it around and try it again. You want a firm stamper, and this one from Hit the Bottle is pretty smushy. So that was what I wanted to touch on with the last question that Pink Tigger had about seekers and sidewalls. Really what you have to do is use a very smushy stamper, but if you're going to do a straight line, you're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. I would recommend doing a decal on a mat, peeling it off and putting it on your nail. If you have that much trouble getting sidewalls, and sometimes I do too, or the little tips on the edges of your nail, you need a squishy stamper. And this one is pretty squishy, and what you're going to do is kind of try to pull back the skin with your other fingers when you stamp and roll it from one side to the other to get all that area. But if you still can't get it, I absolutely recommend doing a decal on a mat or on your stamper head, peel it off and stick it on. Because C-curves are a struggle. It's a struggle. All right, so I am going to use the stamper in a minute, but right now I'm going to show you straight lines. Straight lines are a completely different thing. You want a firm, sticky stamper. This one has seen better days. As you can see, it's pretty cloudy. But you want one that's firm. Oh, this one's firm. This one's really firm. But I mean, if you've got different stampers, they don't have to be the rectangle. I just like these because I can see, I can line them up easier. If you have a round one, make sure you've got like a little mark somewhere where you always put your thumb. So no matter how you pick it up and put it down, and then you go to the next layer and then you're like turned around, have a little mark. Put your thumb there, your index finger there. Always aim it to the north or always aim it to the south, whatever you want to do, so that you don't get turned just a little bit when you go to put down that second stamp. And that's why I like the rectangles, because they're straight lines. So I can keep it flush and not like it this way just a little bit, or this way just a little bit. Okay. All right, straight lines. So you want a stiff scramper. You want a scramping stiff. You want your stamper to be stiff. You want your scraper to be pretty stiff. Now, sometimes if you can't pick up lines, Omni, I'm going to tell you this too. So this is to your question. If so you can't pull up anything, no matter what polish you're using or stamper, try a different scraper. So start with something really flimsy, like one of the Born Pretty ones, something that's really soft and flimsy, and then go to more of a medium one and see if that helps. And if that doesn't work, go to something really stiff. Okay, so it's not always your stamper or your polish. Sometimes it's your scraper. Okay, again, I'm going to check out these. I love these. I am loving these. Here's the other one, Camel, Nutmeg, and Cocoa. Oh, these are so pretty. And they stamp amazing. Very opaque. Love these three from Maniology. They're in a grouping. All right, I'm going to start with this Nutmeg, I think. And we're going to do this. And you're going to pick it up. You don't really need to roll sometimes. When you want to keep your lines straight, make sure your stamper is firm. A soft, squishy stamper is going to give you wonky lines. You're going to have a hard time keeping that right. Also, you're more likely to get your lines off if you roll than if you just stick it down. Great, now my husband's home. All right, I'm gonna put the caramel over the top of that one, and I'm gonna move to these lines. This video is gonna be really long. I may have to upload it in 2 parts because, again, a really stiff scraper or stamper. And then you're just going to line them up. You don't want them perfectly on top of the other one anyway. You want it off just a little bit to give it that plaid look. But you're better off when you're putting it down a straight bop instead of a roll. So when you roll, sometimes you tend to, you know, wiggle. All right, my son and husband decided to come home early and interrupted me filming anyway. So that was a good place to stop, and then we'll move on to part 2. Hopefully not a part 3, but maybe. But I'm gonna try to upload like immediately again or the next day. This will be posting as Friday night, I hope. So tomorrow I plan to have another video up, part 2, of more answered questions. You want what? You want it on? We're just plowing through the dogs. Boogie boogie boo. Boogie boogie boo. Boogie boogie boo. Boogie boogie boo.